Everybody, Pastor Chris Soloc here in Las Vegas, Nevada. This week we're talking about the rich young ruler. And yesterday, reading directly out of Luke 18, verses 18 through 30, we talk about sowing into a life that is eternal, not a temporal one, not a one of temporal comfort, but a life of just there's a sense of sacrifice that comes with being a believer in Jesus Christ, and it always has been. And I won't even get into the fact that the new covenant gets that Jesus asked for it all. The new covenant church gave it all. You and I we generally give 10%, and we think we're doing okay. But I want to stress this: when Jesus called the rich young ruler to give up his possessions and give them to the poor, sell them to the poor. Now that first step was just decimating. The idea of losing what he had acquired was so horrendous that he went away dejected, despondent. He was grieving. Matthew, the scriptures, the passages in Matthew and Mark say that because he had so many possessions. Do not be tied to your possessions. Jesus has already told us in Matthew 6. But there's more going on there. Not only is he living out of his possessions, that his possessions have defined him, but it's also his status has defined him. And so when you give up your wealth, you're also giving up your function. How many people come to you because you're wealthy? How many people come to you because of the influence your money brings you? And so there's the fear of losing that influence and what would happen. But think of the influence. See, this is the short-minded perspective. What perspective is there? How short-minded is it? Short-sighted is it? That you're not looking towards the eternal, but you're only looking towards the temporal. And I think this has to come back to do with belief. If this young man really believed Jesus to be who he was and that he could grant eternal life, he would do what Peter did. Peter gave up a family fishing business, dropped his nets. We know this because he goes back to it. But his source of feeding his family was taken away so that he could follow Jesus. And his brother comes with him. They laid down the family source of income and followed the Messiah. This rich young ruler didn't have, number one, the belief to do what Jesus was asking, but the motive of his heart. And that's what Jesus is challenging. Is rooted completely in the systems of the earth. If he truly wanted the eternal, he would have done simply what Jesus asked. And you go, well, simply? You're talking about him giving up his life. Wait. How often have we said, I gave my life to Jesus? Oh, we say that all the time. Yet we withhold our finances, we withhold our children, we withhold our marriage. Sometimes we put more faith in our health care plan than we do in the Lord. All of these things that he's promised us, they're really good ideas, Pastor. It is 2020 after all. Yeah. We have to wake up to the reality of what we truly believe and if we even truly believe it. And this story challenges that to its very core. The motives. Do we follow Jesus for what we believe is the benefit to our life, or are we following Jesus because we want to be in relationship with him? This man was not willing to give up his dream, his plan, his identity. And it's hard. It's hard. I want to speak to this. I came to Las Vegas almost 7 years ago now. Came to Las Vegas with the dream of building a business, had lots of people are doing what I came out here to do 5 years ahead of them doing it. Let's just say that. The Lord had given me a vision, and it was, I didn't have a relationship with God, but I know that the vision he gave me, looking back at it, was him. Because it was, let's just say that he set the hook and the bait. And I took it. Got myself to Las Vegas, where I had a couple of friends that I moved out here with. No friends, no family outside of that. I didn't have a car. I was using the car of a friend. We put it all on the line to get out here. And within a matter of months, weeks, everything just pulled back. Everything went still. All of a sudden, I was handling a couple hundred texts a day, a few hundred emails a day, 30, 40 phone calls a day, to nothing. Zero. And I remember saying to my mom, well, it's either the Lord or the devil, one of the two. I'd grown up in the church, but I hadn't been in the church in 14 years. And sitting by the poolside one day, just chilling out on a Sunday, I actually had an encounter with the presence of God. And he said, will you follow me? And I said, who am I to say no to you? If you want me, you got me, I'm in. I want to tell you, that declaration in that moment radically changed my life. Whether I knew it or not, in that moment, I surrendered all of my dreams. I surrendered all of my desires. And most of us, when we do this and we realize this, we want to renege. We were like, I didn't know that was what I was exactly saying. I still got this and I still got that. Lord, will you work with me? I went all in. Within 3 years, I was ordained. Within 2.5, within 3 years of that, I've been traveling the world. I've been sharing the gospel. The Lord has me planted a church and a ministry here in Las Vegas. We have a presence in India, Pakistan, and Kenya, and that is growing. God's doing amazing things. Why? Because my desires had to go so that a greater, more eternal dream could be brought forth. It's not my dream. It's not the plan for my life. I wouldn't be doing any of this if it wasn't for him. But he said, would you surrender what you've decided for your life? And would you trust me and follow the plan I have, an eternal plan, that when you put it on the weights and the scales of heaven, when that day of judgment comes, it will never burn up. I'm going to tell you, that rich young ruler, he missed the boat. He missed the boat. He had what he was sowing into was so beyond eternal. I mean, we just can't fathom what God has waiting for us. This is a fallen reality that falls greatly and completely short of the will of God. He had no desire for you and I to live in a fallen reality, fighting and clawing in darkness to reach and have a relationship with his Spirit. That was never his dream. That's why he placed Adam and Eve in the garden with the presence. That's why when we encounter the presence, we accept it, we go and live in eternity with him, because it was always meant to be about relationship. But our motives, if we want to reap the reward of eternity with him, we have to have a desire to be with him now. And we don't get to have the desire our way. It gets to be his way. Thanks.